In today's episode, I want to get all the electrical working. Headlights, indicators, brake light, tail light, thermostatic fan, all working again. Well, that's the plan anyway. I don't know if it'll work out in reality.
You're watching Kodokuna Raida YouTube channel.
We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight.
Thank you for watching my channel. This is the 4th episode of working on this 1994 VMAX. In the last episode, we got the engine running beautiful. But this time I really want to concentrate on getting all the electrical done so we know if we need to get any parts. Fuse box it. Okay, the first thing we want to do when checking electrical problems, remove our seat and remove our cover here for our air filter because there are 2 fuse boxes. We've got one here, a main fuse, and we've got some fuses under there. So let me take this off and I'll show you where they are and how we can easily check. So here we are, we've got one fuse box here and we've got one fuse box here. So this one here, a 30 amp fuse, and then this here, push here, got that cover off. Then we've got our 15 and 10 amps here, and we've got a spare 15 and 10 amp. Now there's an easy way to check. I've just got my test light here, got it connected up to earth, so we want to see if there's power. At the moment my ignition's off. So as you can see, there's no power coming through here at all to any of them. So let me turn my ignition on. Okay. So power, 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 power. And these are 2 spares, so there's nothing here. So as you can see with the test light, I have power both sides of the fuse, which means they're okay. If you don't have a test light, you can just do a visual check. Just pull one of your fuses out, go out here in the light. So I'm outside, you can see in the center there, that little curve is not broken. So we know this fuse visually is okay. Now, I haven't checked this fuse out yet. Okay, this fuse is okay and this one is a spare. So we know all our fuses are okay. So now we know that's okay. I want to move on to my switches here. Now this bike's been sitting around for 15 years. The switches are so stiff. I can hardly move them. So there's an easy way to repair these by just spraying a little bit of WD-40 in between these gaps. If that doesn't loosen them up, we'll have to pull these handles apart, which is easy anyway. So let me get some WD-40. We'll spray in here. Okay, here's my WD-40. We'll just spray it into there. Oh, already loosening up, look at that. Before I could hardly move it. It's not going to wreck any of your electrical systems, so don't worry. Look, that's moving beautiful now. Just a simple little spray. Great. This side is super stiff. Oh, there we go, straight away. So they've just become so stiff from sitting around. It might even happen to yours from not just sitting around abused like this bike has been. That'll just loosen all those switches up, make good contact. Oh, that's great. Ah. Oh. Great. So it's an easy trick. It's just great. So none of these were working before. So now that we've sprayed some oil in here and the switch is loosened, let's check. Hey, there you go. It's as simple as that. Before I had nothing, now it's working. So it's just loosened those switches up. And sounds great. So we've got a horn already. Let's see if we've got a headlight. We've got nothing. Now, so the next thing we've got to do is pull this headlight off. There's a screw on the side here, and there's a screw on this side, and then the headlight will come out. We'll get to all the wires and see if we can see what the problem is. Oh, look at that. It's not even connected. So I don't know what the problem has been. This is the cable that's coming from our lights up here. It's not connected. Here's our headlight, not connected. Eh? And this is for our indicators. Okay, before we just plug it in and check it, I'll show you how we can check that we've got power or not here to this plug before we connect it to our headlight. Okay, so I've got my ignition on, so we know we've got power. I've earthed my switch out here, so here's my plug. One of these is an earthing wire, and one of them is power for low beam and power for high beam. So let's check. So here I've got... Okay, so now we're on high beam. So here is your high beam wire. When you're looking at the plug, on the left is your high beam. You'll see here nothing. I've switched it to low beam now, so you've got nothing here, and we've got power here. So high beam, low beam, and this is your earth wire. So now let's plug the light in and see if it works. Okay, so this is the light that came with it. Let's plug that in. Oh, there we go. So we've got high beam, low beam, high beam, low beam. So our light is working, no problems. That's great news. Okay, let me unplug that. We can move on to see why our indicators are not working. And here is your first indication, looking at that. Look at that. Okay, so when I checked this before, I had absolutely no indicators working. So I've got my ignition on there. Let's go to the left first. Oh, you can hear the indicator flashing unit working. It's under here. So our back left is working. We don't have one over there yet. We're going to connect that up. Let's check our front. Let me get my test light and we'll see which wire is which. Okay, so this is a set of wires that go to this side, and here's the set of wires that go to the right hand side. So in this clump of wires here, we're going to have one indicator that's going to be flashing. Now, one thing to also remember on these Yamahas, when your ignition is on, you have lights here permanently on. It's just day driving lights. So make sure you don't get mixed up with your day driving lights and your indicators, okay? So let's see if we can find out. So this big wire here is blue. So as you can see, switch it off. So what I'd say is your blue, which has got a double end in here, is your daylights. So here's one blue. Let's plug that in there. And there's another blue here. Plug that one in there. I don't know if this is right yet. So black, of course, is our earth. Here's the black wire. We'll throw... Oh, look. There's that one. Here's our other black wire. Untangle that a little bit. So there's our driving lights. I'll turn my ignition off. Okay, our 2-day driving lights are working. So now all we've got to do is figure out which one is the indicator. So I switched it over to the left-hand side. There's only 2 wires left. See, I've got no power here. There we go. So what colour is that? Red or brown is our indicator for our left-hand side. So we've got our wires coming out here. There we go. So I've got our indicator and daylight working there. So now I've got the right-hand side. We know this, the green wire is for our right-hand side. So let's check. There we are. Whoa, so we've got indicator working here. We've got indicator working there. Indicators off. Our daylights are working. Oh, no. So this one is for our lights up here. So let's check. Oh, look at that, it's working. Can you see that? Can we see in there? Oh yeah, we've got all our lights working in our gauges here. All the lights in the front are working. Let me put that headlight back in because we're finished up the front. So it's all back together. Let's do a final check. Great. Great. Headlights all working. Left indicator. This right is flashing fast because we don't have a light on the back. On the left, we have a light. And it's working now. So we know this is okay. So it's wonderful news. Oh, we've also got our parking light working on the back here. Everything's coming together great. Let's try and get this light on the right-hand side rear here and see how it's going. Okay, so I have to order a new light for this back here, but what I've got here is an old one. So I'm just going to plug this in. I've got a globe and we can see if it's all working till we get a new light. So let me just... There we go. There's our 2 plugs. That one in there. That one in there. Let's turn on our ignition again. And there we go. So now we know that our right indicator is working. So now let's have a look at our tail light. So we know we've got Parker, but what we're wanting now is brake. Okay, so we've got no brake light. Now underneath here, there should be a switch on my brake side. Well, here's our wires. So the switch is not connected. Can you hear it? See if I can listen carefully. That's the brake switch. It's not connected. So let me connect up these wires and we'll check it again. I've connected up the couple of wires there. Now you can see in my car there the reflection. Let's see if it's working, the brake light. There we go. Hand brake, that's working. And then from my foot brake. So it's great news. So what we want to check now is that our thermostatic fan is working okay. So I'll start the bike up and when it gets up to operating temperature, we'll have a look and see if it's working. It's a little bit noisy, but as you can see in there, the thermostatic fan has gone on and off, so it's working great. That's really great news. Wow, wonderful news today. All our electrical is working again. I'm over the moon. Just a simple fix, but we got it all working. Just step by step. You can do the same thing if you're having problems, using a little testing light and just observing things, you can figure it all out. Oh, another thing, my rear seat came in here. That was no good. You'll remember my last one. Here it is. So I just bought this online. In Japan we have Yahoo auction, and I got this rear seat in really good condition for $10. So really, really great. So it's looking better, it's running beautiful, and we're slowly fixing everything. The next episode will be the biggest challenge yet in the repairing of this bike. If you listened carefully when I was starting this bike, you would have heard this noise. Now that noise can only be two things. Either my starter motor bearing has completely collapsed from sitting around, which is a possibility, but the most probable reason is that my clutch for my starter, the bolts have loosened off. Now to do that, I have to pull this cover off and pull my flywheel off to get to that starter clutch. It's a big job, but we won't run away from it if that's the problem. So on the next episode, we're going to fix that noise and get it working properly. Thanks a lot. If you like this series, please like and subscribe. Thanks a lot. Have a wonderful day. Always remember, drive like you know each other, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye-bye.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm walking alone, the streets are empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for regrets. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We will fly
Thank you.
above the sky.
Thank you.
We are heroes tonight.
Thank you. Thank you.
We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight.
Okay. Thank you.